A very good morning, children. Today we are going to discuss a wonderful lesson, that is power sharing from Civics chapter 1. So, in the name itself, power sharing, there is a meaning. The, the power of the government, the responsibilities of the government is shared among different organs and levels of the government is called as a power sharing. So, in the previous class, in 9th standard, we have learned about democracy. We have learned that in a democracy, all power does not rest with any one organ of the government. An intelligent sharing of power among legislature, executive, and judiciary is very important to the design of a democracy. So, let us start this chapter with two stories from Belgium and Sri Lanka. Belgium is a small country in Europe. The ethnic composition of this small country is very complex. Ethnic meaning a social division based on shared culture. Of the total population, 59% lives in the Flemish region and speaks Dutch language. Another 40% people lives in Wallonia region and speak French. Remaining 1% of the Belgians speak German. In the capital city Brussels, 80% people speak French while 20% are Dutch speaking. The minority French speaking community was relatively rich and powerful. This was resented by the Dutch speaking community who got the benefit of economic development and education much later. They felt that all the provisions are enjoyed better by the French speaking people. And this led to tensions between the Dutch speaking and French speaking communities during the 1950s and 1960s. And this tension between the two communities were more acute in Brussels. Brussels presented a special problem. The Dutch speaking people constituted a majority in the country but a minority in the capital. Now let us come back to South Asian country Sri Lanka. So let us compare this to the situation of Belgium with Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka is an island nation. It has a diverse population. The major social groups are the Sinhala speakers 74% and Tamil speakers 18%. Among Tamils there are two subgroups. Tamil natives of the country are called Sri Lankan Tamils 13%. The rest, whose forefathers came from India as plantation workers during colonial period, are called Indian Tamils. Most of the Sinhala speaking people are Buddhist, while most of the Tamils are Hindus or Muslims. There are about 7% Christians who are both Tamil and Sinhala. So this is the overall context of diversity of Sri Lanka and Belgium. Now we will see how the power sharing or the dynamics of power sharing has changed the face of these two countries. Now we'll start with Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka emerged as independent country in 1948. They had a democratic government. the Sinhala were in majority, even in the political sphere, even they were in majority in parliament. So as a result, the democratically elected government adopted a series of majoritarian measures to establish Sinhala supremacy. In 1956, an act was passed to recognize Sinhala as the official language, thus disregarding Tamil. The government followed preferential policies that favored Sinhala applicants for university positions and government jobs. Our new constitution stipulated that the state shall protect and foster Buddhism. Now let us know what is the meaning of majoritarianism in Sri Lanka. So the word majoritarianism means a belief that the majority community should be able to rule country in whichever way it wants by disregarding the wishes and needs of the minority. So all this government measures coming one after the other gradually increased the feeling of alienation among the Sri Lankan Tamils. So government is only and only favoring Sinhala community only. So in all the ways Sri Lankan Tamils were disregarded. So Sri Lankan Tamils felt that none of the major political parties led by the Buddhist Sinhala leaders was sensitive to their language and culture. They felt that the constitution and the government policies denied them equal political rights, discriminating against them in getting jobs and other opportunities and ignored their interest. So as a result, the relations between the Sinhala and Tamil communities became worse over time. The Sri Lankan Tamils launched parties and struggles for the recognition of Tamil as an official language, for regional autonomy and equality of opportunities in securing education and jobs. So these are the three demands. One is to recognize Tamil as an official language. Second one is to give more autonomy and equality to their region where these Tamils are living. And also that they should be given jobs opportunity, and even they should get opportunities for securing the education. But their demands for more autonomy to provinces populated by the Tamils was repeatedly denied, not accepted. So by 1980s, several political organizations were formed demanding an independent Tamil ALM. ALM means state in northern and central parts of Sri Lanka. So in this way, the bitterness grown between these two communities and the distress between the two communities turned into widespread conflict. It soon turned into a civil war. As a result of this civil war, thousands of people of both the communities have been killed. Many families were forced to leave the country as refugees, and many more lost their livelihoods. So with this example of Sri Lanka, we have learned that how the refusal of the power sharing among the communities adversely affected the lives of the people in Sri Lanka. But now, let us see what has happened in Belgium. So in Belgium, in overall, the country, the Dutch-speaking people were more. But in contrast, Brussels, the capital city of Belgium, the French-speaking people are more. But in Belgium, the government was very smart, very inclusive, and very accommodative. Even in Belgium, Between 1950s and 1960s, conflict started between Dutch-speaking people and French-speaking people. The government realized that it has to take certain measures to bring peace in Belgium. So the government from 1970 to 1993 amended the constitution 4 times to accommodate the diversity of Belgium. The arrangement they worked out is different from any other country and is very innovative. So what measures they have taken? The first one is Constitution prescribes that the number of Dutch and French speaking ministers shall be equal in the central government. Equal representation was done. Now the second one, many powers of the central government has been given to state government of the 2 regions of the country. The state governments are not the subordinate to the central government. Means what? The state government will not under the control of the central government. They can take their own decision. The next one, Brussels have a separate government in which both the communities have equal representation. So already we have discussed that in Brussels French speaking people are more. But here what they did, what type of accommodation they did is, both the communities have been given equal representation. The French speaking people accepted equal representation in Brussels because, so why the French speaking people accepted this? Because in the country of Belgium, that is in central government, the French people were given equal representation. So the French speaking people accepted equal representation in Brussels because the Dutch speaking community has accepted equal representation in the central government. Now the next one, apart from the central and the state government, there is a third kind of government. This is community government, which is elected by the people belonging to one language community, one particular language community. Dutch, French and German speaking, no matter where they live. So this government has the power regarding cultural, educational and language related issues. So the Belgium model seems very complicated and inclusive, but these measures helped in reducing the conflicts between the two communities. And because of the diversity and inclusiveness, Brussels, the capital city of Belgium, was chosen as the headquarters of the European Union. So students, what we learned from the Sri Lanka and Belgium is that refusing power sharing and doing power sharing can lead to different outcomes. In Belgium, the government was accommodative and it realized the unity and integrity of the country and can be secured only if power is shared equally among the two communities, that is Dutch speaking and French speaking. In contrasting, in Sri Lanka what happened? Where the Sinhalas are the majority, they refused to share the power between the Sinhala and the Tamil speaking, and we had seen the bad outcome. There was a civil war. So that is how power sharing is important. If we list down the reasons for power sharing, there are 2 reasons. So why power sharing is desirable? Why power sharing is needed? So here we have 2 reasons, children, why power sharing is desirable. One is prudential reason and another one is moral reasons. So coming to the prudential reasons, Prudential reasons are based on careful calculations of gains and losses. A prudential reason for power sharing is precautionary measure. This reason for power sharing is good because it helps to reduce the possibility of conflict between social groups. Now here we have one example of prudential reason. Reserved constituencies for minorities and women in assemblies and parliament is the best example of prudential reason of power sharing in India. Now next, moral reason. Moral reasons are based purely on moral considerations. The moral reason of power sharing is the very spirit of democracy. Here, people have a right to be consulted on how they are to be governed. So, here we have one example of moral reason. Decentralization of power in India is the best example of moral reason of power sharing. How power of central government and state government is shared to the local self government. That is called as a decentralization of power. So, this is one of the example of moral reason. So, power sharing in democracy is a complex arrangement. So, now we will learn. So, in what forms this power is shared. The basic principle of democracy is that people are the source of all political powers. In democracy, people rule themselves through institutions of self government. In a good democratic government, due respect is given to diverse groups and views that exist in a society. Everyone has a voice in the shaping of public policies. So, in modern democracies, power sharing arrangements can be of many forms. So, here we are going to learn some four important forms of power sharing. The power is shared among different organs of the government. Power is shared among government at different levels. Power is shared among different social groups. And power is also shared among political parties, pressure groups and movements. Now coming to the first form. Power is shared among different organs of the country. So first one, horizontal form of power sharing. When power is shared among the various organs at the same level, that is legislature, executive and judiciary, is known as the horizontal form of power sharing. This form of power sharing ensures that none of the organs of the government gets unlimited power. Each organ keeps a check on the other. This system of power sharing is called as system of checks and balances. Now the second one is vertical form of power sharing. So when power is shared among the highest and the lowest authority of the government at different levels, it is known as the vertical form of power sharing. In this system, power is shared at national, state and local levels. And the third one, Power sharing among different social groups. Power can be shared between social and linguistic groups. There are countries where socially and economically weaker sections and women are given legal and constitutional protection in terms of representation in the local bodies. This is done to enable them to be a part of decision making. In India, there is a provision in the constitution to have reserved constituencies for the members of the socially and economically backward classes. At the same time, one third of the seats are reserved for the women in the legislatures. This ensures fair share in power. In Belgium, the provision of community government for the linguistic groups was introduced to avoid civic strife in the country. Now the fourth one, power sharing among political parties, pressure groups and movements. The sharing of powers among political parties, pressure groups and movement ensures the influence in decision making process as democracy implies people's choice among various contenders. Regarding political parties, this sharing takes place in the way of political competition among different parties. This in turn ensures that power does not remain in one hand. In the case of coalition government, this sharing becomes direct when two or more parties form an alliance to contest election and if their alliance is elected. Coalition government means, again children, in a democratic country like India, we have n number of parties. So, to form a government, none of the party get that many number of seats to get a majority so that they can form a government. So, in such a situation, what will happen that two or more parties, they will come together and they will form a coalition government. So, in modern democracy, it's a common like to have a coalition government. So, at the same time, pressure groups and movements influence power sharing through dharnas, rallies, protest, strike, etc. Whenever the people think that injustice is happening to them, so people raise their voice. They will do dharnas, rallies, protest. There are so many unions. So the head of the union will have some power to raise their voice on the behalf of the people. So these are called as pressure groups and movements. Now, in another way, by becoming the member of committee or a part of the planning commission, power can be shared for advocating better policies. So children, so this is the lesson, power sharing. So with this we will conclude the session. I hope all of you have understood well. Have a nice day children. Thank you.